Good morning and welcome to John Beck. This is your principal, Mr. Lin, and I hope that you had a wonderful Monday yesterday. Today is Tuesday, November 15th, 2022, and it is a day A for instrumentals. It is also a day 5. Now, before we kick off this wonderful day, I want to invite you, as I always do, to participate in the Pledge of Allegiance. So please stand and face the flag at this moment. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Go ahead and take a seat. I'm so happy to have you in school. Once again, as I shared yesterday, without you, we don't have a school. Schools are made to have students. You're part of it. You're part of us. I love it. Now let's jump into our 4 choices for lunch. Your warm choice is the hamburger cheese choice. The hamburger or cheeseburger choice, I should say, not cheese. Hamburger or cheeseburger choice. Your second choice is a yogurt parfait with a snack bag. Your third choice for kindergarten through second grade is a lunchbox meal with ham, and then a ham sandwich meal for our 3rd through 6th grade students. Last but not least, for our 4th choice, it is the sun butter sandwich. Don't forget, if you are in 3rd grade or 4th grade and you're buying a meal and also attending the release time, you will need to choose between choice 1, the hamburger cheeseburger choice, or choice 3, which is the ham sandwich meal. Okay, so for 3rd and 4th grade students who are going to release time, and if you're a packer, that's great, but if you're buying a lunch, you're going to want to make sure to choose choice 1 or choice 3. Okay, now we have 3 expectations here at the school. You know what they are. Number 1, be respectful to yourself as well as to others. Number 2, show that you're responsible with your own thoughts, with your hands, with your feet, with the words that come out of your mouth. And I'm talking to all of you guys on the bus too. It includes the bus. And boys and girls, unfortunately, there are going to be a handful of you guys I have to talk to about the bus. And if I have to talk to you, don't forget, the other part of being responsible is being honest. Even when you know you might have made a mistake. That's hard. Being honest is really easy, right? When you've done something amazing, you want to brag about it. Being honest when you're not proud of what you're doing or what you've done or you think you're going to get in trouble, that's really hard. I need all of you guys to be brave and courageous in telling the truth. Last but not least, show that you're ready to learn, ready to have a good time, ready to also struggle. Learning can be hard. It's meant to be hard. Your teachers, if you look at them, they love you, care about you, encourage you. And they wouldn't love you if they made things too easy. Because if things are too easy, you wouldn't grow. You wouldn't get better. If we loved you, we do want you to get better. And that means we have to push you. That means we're going to have to make things a little more challenging. And if you stick with it, and if you stick with us, when it finally clicks and you're successful, man, that's amazing. You'll celebrate and you'll have earned it. All right, no special announcements today, but I did want to share with you guys this day in history. November 15th, 2022 is today. But back November 15th, 1920, there was an interesting thing that happened. Okay. In 1919, that was the year World War I ended. And if you remember from this day in history from a few episodes back, there were, in World War I, basically friends of some countries got upset because another country was mean to it, did something to it, and they jumped in, and the second country had all hit its friends, and they got in together, and before long, all the countries were fighting, and that's what World War I was. So after the war was over, it was bloody. It destroyed a lot of things. And people just didn't want that to happen. They didn't want to have another world war. So they decided to create a club of nations, a club of all the countries. And you were in the club because your goal was to try to keep the peace. If there was a disagreement, instead of going to war and sending your army against each other, maybe you could talk it out, come up with a different solution. Conflict resolution, right? This is a good thing, right? Just like you guys on the playground. If you don't get along with each other about something, maybe you've got to walk away. Maybe you've got to talk it out. But the last thing you want to do is get to something violent, pushing, shoving, hitting, none of that. Just like our countries didn't want to go to war. This club of countries, this club of nations, eventually became known as the League of Nations. Okay? And for quite some time, they did a really good job. There were times when an explosive war could have happened. And instead, they decided to work through it, and the countries came to a compromise, or they worked it out so that nobody had to die. You didn't have to have another war between two countries, let alone a whole bunch of countries, to create a second world war. Now, most of you guys who love history may realize and may be saying, hey, but Mr. Lin, wasn't there actually a World War II as well? And you're right. Unfortunately, the League of Nations, if you know that much about history, wasn't very successful. In the end, in the 1930s, going into the 40s, a second world war erupted. And the League of Nations, unfortunately, was unable to stop it. Now, these days, after World War II, they decided to take the idea of a League of Nations and make it better. Right? Still get countries together to work things out. Still get countries together. Give peace a try to work through conflicts. And that organization still exists. It's called the United Nations. All the nations united in trying to keep the peace. Now, war still happens, but the United Nations and its job is intended to try to make wars not as explosive, to prevent world wars and things like that. Sometimes they're more successful than others. So, anyways, that's a little bit of history. I think every kid out there can say, hey, good for the countries for trying to keep the peace. We don't want a third world war after all, right? So there we are. Okay, if you haven't heard it from anybody, I want you to hear it from me. I love you. I care about you. And I'm here to encourage you. Share the message. Find your teacher. Share the message. Find your parents. Share the message. Find each other. Share the message. Find yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you love yourself, that you care about yourself, and you want to encourage yourself. Things aren't going to be easy, and they shouldn't be. If you love yourself, you're going to put yourself through the hard times so that you can celebrate at the end. All right, can't wait to see you guys around. Have an amazing Tuesday.